And I'm going to be talking to you about habit. This is a quick, simple talk. There's nothing magical about it. There's no science involved. Um, there is only one thing that qualifies me to talk to you about habit, and that is the fact that I have them, like you. And also the fact that 30 months ago, I looked like that, and I now look like that. So I clearly changed some habits, and I think reasonably successfully because I've been able to stay like that. So the first thing that you want to know when you're talking about habit is what are they? What is a habit? And we are not talking about, just to be clear, we are not talking about addiction. That is a physiological issue which you can't deal with that in 20 minutes. What is a habit? It's something that you do in a regular, repeated manner, and often without thinking about it. It is a habit because you don't think about it. If you think about it, it's a decision. If you don't, it's a habit. Some things we don't think about: brushing our teeth, checking our email, reading the newspaper. You don't need to think about those things. You just do them. They're habits. There are some habits you want to create. So walking, getting better sleep, drinking more water. The habits you want to create work for your lifestyle. Similarly, there are some habits we want to break. Lying. Maybe some of you want to break that, and maybe some of you don't. Smoking, swearing. In my case, eating cupcakes whenever I felt stressed. That was a habit I wanted to break. To either make or break a habit, you need to know how habits form. I have come to believe that they form in a very simple cycle, but first I want you to trust me and just cross your arms for a little while and don't do anything about it till I tell you about it. So, I believe that habits form in a cycle that starts with a trigger, a reminder. I call this the 3 R's of the habit cycle. There is a reminder. That could be anything. It could be a smell. It could be a sight. It could be a place. It could be an action. That in turn triggers a behavior. So, for example, you are walking down the street on your way to work. You smell delicious smells coming from the bakery or maybe Starbucks, and you walk in and you grab that lovely croissant and you eat it and you feel good. So an action does not become a habit unless there is a payoff. The reward center of your brain lights up. You got something out of that croissant. It calmed you down. It made you feel good. You had a great sensory experience. Once it becomes a reward, the next time you are walking down the street and you smell that bakery smell, you are going to walk in. The third time you do it, it will be without thinking, and the fourth time you do it, it's a habit that you are probably it's not even a conscious thought anymore. Why? Why does this happen? So the brain is a very complex machine. When you are breathing, right now, in this moment, you are breathing. That is your brain telling you to breathe. Your brain is telling your organs to function. When I raise my arm, my brain is telling me to raise my arm. Your brain is busy, very, very busy. And therefore, in the interest of speed and efficiency, the brain codifies certain actions. Those are your habits. The brain does that in order to utilize less processing power and time so that it can focus on better things like reminding you to breathe or reminding your kidney to function. If you did not have that mechanism of habit, the species would not have survived because there's simply too much for the brain to do. So the more often you do something, the brain just does it on autopilot. The brain begins to do it on autopilot. Cross your arms the other way. Okay. I can see, I can see you guys struggling to do that. That is because the brain hates change. And that is why it is so difficult for us to change our habits. You can uncross your arms now if you like, but I just wanted to show you how difficult it is for the brain. That is how a decision to cross your arms, either by way of repetition or by way of status quo, becomes a habit that you're not thinking about. When you're not thinking about something, it's very easy to just keep doing it for no reason, because you're not thinking about it. It's not a reasoned decision. It's nothing that you want to do. So what do you do about it if you want to make or break a habit? What I'm going to share with you are personal learnings. There's no real, I'm not a neuroscientist or anything approaching it. So the first thing I learned about habit is that change is your friend, but it's also your enemy. So if you are trying to break a habit, use change during the reminder phase. So for example, one of the things somebody was talking to me about yesterday is the fact that they walk into the house, they see the remote control on the coffee table, and they just sit down and switch on the television, and they end up channel surfing, and they don't really want to be watching the television. It's just a habit. They walk in, they see the remote control, and they switch on the television. So what you can do to break that habit is change the cue. The remote control is the cue. Move it. Don't put it on the coffee table. Put it somewhere else. Put it on a shelf. Put it away. Put it in your bedroom. When you walk in that room, if it's a habit, if you don't see the video controller, you probably are not going to just sit down mindlessly and switch it on. Similarly, you can maintain a habit by avoiding change. What does that mean? If you've decided, for example, to go to the gym on a daily basis, and to help you do that, if you've decided to put your running shoes at the foot of your bed, make sure they're there every night, especially in the initial phases of making a habit. Because the one day that you forget to put your shoes there, you're going to wake up in the morning, not see the shoes, and say, I'm going back to sleep now. No shoes, don't have to run, don't have to go to the gym. So you can use change to either break a habit during the cue phase, the trigger phase, or make a habit during the action phase. Use change, but remember it's your friend as well as your enemy. Convenience. Because the brain automates certain actions, you have to make it inconvenient for the brain to do so. So you try and make bad habits less convenient or pleasurable, and you try and make good habits more convenient or pleasurable. How? So if you want to, for example, stop drinking so much Coke, whether Coke Zero or any other kind of Coke, you would want to take it out of the house. Why? So that if you really want it, you have to go to the store to buy it, or you have to order it online and wait for 20 minutes for it to get to you. It's inconvenient. That's one way to break a habit. If you want a good habit to take root, you need to make it more convenient or more pleasurable. So for example, if you want to drink more water during the course of your day, it's more likely to happen if you keep 2 water bottles on your desk than if you have to walk up to the water cooler, pull out a glass, open the tap. It's more likely to happen if you keep the water beside you, because 2 reasons. 1, it's more convenient. 2, the water bottle forms your trigger. That's your cue. See water bottle, drink it. And eventually your brain will do it on autopilot. Plan to fail. Plan to stumble. If you want to eat in a healthier way, plan to stumble. Like Anirudh said yesterday, life gets in the way. There's a birthday. Somebody invites you out to lunch. As far as possible, plan what you are going to do. In my case, if I go out for lunch, I either try to make sure that I choose the restaurant, or if somebody else has chosen the restaurant, I go online. I look at the menu, and I decide ahead of time what I'm going to order. Because when I'm in that restaurant, that then prevents impulse ordering, A. B, my brain is so happy it has nothing to do. It just has to say, oh yeah, I made that decision earlier. Let me just order whatever. Plan what you are going to say. If this, then that. If someone sticks a cupcake under my nose, here's what I'm going to say, or here's what I'm going to do. Plan it in your head, rehearse it in your head, and your brain will just autopilot it if has already made the decision to do so. You're on autopilot and you're reasonably safe from that stumble. Plan for it. Don't get it perfect. Get it started. This was a hard lesson for me to learn because I am a perfectionist in many ways. Start with one step, then take another one. Don't wait, for example, until you have the perfect running shoes, great socks, dry fit clothing, the stars align, you have your gym membership. Don't wait. Do one thing that makes you feel like you have a handle on this habit. Do one thing. Some people I know find it easier, especially when breaking a habit, to go cold turkey. And I've done that too. That's absolutely fine. If cold turkey is your one thing, if that is your one thing, do it. But do one thing. Don't try and do everything at the same time. When I decided to eat healthier, it was tempting to say, stop eating rice, wheat, sugar, just everything. That is not sustainable. One step at a time worked for me. It may work differently for you, but do something. Take one step. Keep on track. Keep track to stay on track. Track everything. If you wanted to drink more water, track how much water you are drinking. Even if, instead of drinking 8 cups in a day, or 10 or 12 or whatever you wanted, you drank only 2, log it. Why? One, it gives you a record of what you did. I see people, I've done it myself, where you say, oh, you know what, I'm eating healthy, but I'm not losing weight. Or, hey, you know what, I'm running, but my muscles aren't getting stronger. The thing is, a lot of the time we think we're doing something, and maybe we're not. So log it. It not only helps you with compliance, it helps you understand why you are getting or not getting a result. Finally, enjoy the journey. You will learn about yourself. You will learn what motivates you, what demotivates you. Use that knowledge. It's different for everybody, which is why there is no cookie-cutter approach to habit. It's different for everyone. Something that motivates me may not motivate you, vice versa. Figure out what motivates you and what doesn't. Figure out what brings you down and what doesn't. And remember, there is no after. People who are looking to change habits say before and after. So this is what I look like before, this is what I look like after. A habit is not an after. A habit is an ongoing thing. There is no single point which you can say, well, this is now, and this is what I look like before, this is what I look like after. After is now. As far as habit is concerned, there is only now, and it's ongoing. And I want to conclude by sharing a couple of books with you that I found to be extremely informative. One is called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It's 519 rupees for the paperback and 287 for the Kindle on Amazon, India. And Better Than Before by Gretchen Rubin, who also wrote The Happiness Project. That's 345 for the paperback and 284 for the Kindle on Amazon. Questions? And thank you.
Any questions? Thanks for this really excellent talk, Suman. I know Savitri is going to talk about the neurobiology of addiction, but I was wondering if you could just briefly talk about the fact that a lot of the food that we are habituated to is because we're habituated because of the smell factor. Because I do remember having this conversation with you And I have actually started recognizing which foods smell sweet to me, and therefore I've started cutting them off, including onion pakoras.
Hello. Okay, great. Okay, Zainab, so this sort of moves a little bit away from habit and into my other area of interest, which is food. I'm sure many of you know that 80% of what we think of as taste is actually smell. Um, it's if you try and eat a strawberry with your nose closed properly from here all the way down, you can't tell it's a strawberry. You don't know what it is. It tastes like some alien thing. You don't know at all what it is. Smells are very powerful. They are connected to the brain's limbic system, which is the most primitive part of the brain, and it's connected deeply to memory and emotion and the things that we can't touch and feel, non-sensory. So what happens when you smell something, maybe that's coffee, or I spoke about the bakery, when you walk past, it triggers emotions, memories, feelings. You feel warm when you walk past a bakery. You feel hungry. You're not physically hungry, but you feel hungry. That is actually memory. If you can actually tap into the fact that a smell is driving your behavior, if you can tap into the fact that a smell is your trigger, you are about 1/3 of the way towards recognizing and breaking a habit. And as Zainab said, there is a talk later on today about the neurobiology of addiction. Now, addiction is a habit gone wild. It's a habit that's got hold of you rather than you having a habit. The habit has you. That's a completely different story, and that is physiological, again, to do with the brain. But in terms of smell, as far as your habits are concerned, smell does play a big part in several habits. So if you want to eat less, consider what smell is doing. They say, I mean, I've tried this, I don't know if it will work for you, but brush your teeth, and I'm sure all of us know, you brush your teeth and try and eat something immediately, it tastes horrible. You're not going to get the same kind of pleasure from that croissant if you eat it soon after you've brushed your teeth. And that is because the menthol-y thing in the toothpaste takes away your sense of smell, not your sense of taste.
Hi, my name is Zafar, and I think you gave an example before, something which I would ask now. I've got this very, not annoying habit, but as soon as I get into the house, or anytime even in the house, I'm always looking for food in the fridge. When there is no, and I know there is nothing, but I would always go back to the fridge to look for food.
Are you hungry? That's question number one. Is it because you're hungry?
I've thought about it, and I think I like chewing stuff.
Okay.
Probably like a cow or something, but I feel like I just like chewing stuff.
Okay.
And I know I am not hungry sometimes. Sometimes I feel like, God, I can't eat anymore.
Okay.
But then I always want to go back to the fridge. Sometimes, like today morning, we don't have anything in the fridge. But I've been to the fridge at least 4 times, if I remember now. And there is nothing. There's just milk in it, which is an empty packet, I think. But I just keep, even I lift it up, trying to drink it, but there's nothing in it, I know. So I don't know if that's a addiction or a habit. I think that's an addiction, probably.
I don't know about addiction because it doesn't seem like you're getting anything out of the fridge to be addicted to. So I don't know if that's an addiction. But see, there are many things. Habit can take many forms. Habit can be completely harmless, like I have the habit of scratching my head, perhaps, or whatever. Habit can also manifest in things like in mental health issues like OCD, where you keep repeating a certain behavior over and over again, even though you don't want to, and even though you know it makes no sense. That's one area to look into. Another is, are you hungry? Like I said, sometimes it could be, I know that for the longest time, I didn't know what physical hunger felt like. When I was stressed, I thought I was hungry. When I was thirsty, I thought I was hungry. When I was tired, I thought I was hungry. So maybe that's something you could look into as well. What is it that what is being evoked inside that's driving you to the fridge? Um, those are two ideas that I have for you at the moment.
Maybe it's boredom. I mean, who doesn't
that
stare
too.
at the fridge when they're bored?
My mum told me this long time back. He said there are two kind of people on this planet. One is people who are hungry from stomach,
Yes,
and one are people who are hungry from eyes
from the head.
or
Yeah.
from the head. This is in our culture. You say it from the eyes, and
Yeah.
and people from stomach you'll give them food and they'll eat and their
Yes.
hunger will go off. For people who are probably mentally hungry,
Yes.
that's a word.
Yes.
No matter how much you feed them, they will still want
Yes.
more and more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think also there are complex connections between the gut flora and how you perceive hunger and what you do, and there's going to be a talk about that later today. Maybe you could take a look at that as well. Anybody else?
Hi,
Hey,
Avinash.
morning.
Hey, good morning. So I had a question on stress eating specifically.
Yes?
Now, is there anywhere I can find enough literature for alternatives to stress eating comfort foods? Like I know that you're supposed to chew on a celery or eat a cucumber. Trust me, it doesn't work when you're stressed.
No, it doesn't work. There is a reason that we reach for cupcakes and cookies.
Sugar high, right?
As exactly, aside, it feels good. I don't reach for a carrot when I'm stressed. I reach for a cookie or a cupcake. I can only share with you what worked for me in that respect. What worked for me was to take it slowly and train myself to reach instead for dried figs or a sweet fruit to begin with, and then progress further along the continuum to teach myself how to reach for something else. Replace it with something else. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
The worst part is, I mean, the thing is, when you're stress eating, right, what usually tends to happen is this: have dinner, get stressed by a conference call, get extremely irritated, go online, order in Swiggy for like a couple of biryanis, and eat it till midnight and then pass out.
Make it
I am serious.
inconvenient.
That is exactly what
Make it inconvenient. Take Swiggy off your phone. That's what I would do. If that is a habit that's bothering me, make it inconvenient.
The thing is, my brain is, okay, this is very weird, but my stress brain is smarter than my non-stress brain.
It is. And that's, no, it is. It's a
really
survival
is.
mechanism.
I might think for the life of me that I'll keep I have like a habit of eating peanuts or almonds next to me. I just keep it next to me, or something which is not too bad, right? No, but the thing is, when I'm stressed, all of that just goes out of the window. It doesn't matter that it's next to me. I will drive to a place to eat if I have to. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
My stress brain is very, very clever.
It is, and that's a survival mechanism. You have to find, and as I said, it's different for each person. You will learn what makes you tick. And you have to learn, you have to look at yourself, track everything, even if you need to track what you're thinking or what you're feeling. And you may find patterns between why you're getting into the car and driving in Bangalore traffic to get yourself something to eat.
We'll just take one last question here.
Yeah, thanks, Suman. This is in regards to
There you are.
making a bad habit less convenient. So an interesting story is at office, we started stocking beer in the fridge. And
Where do you work?
Yeah, we started stocking beer in the fridge and everyone's excited and started having a lot of beer. But it soon happened that people got saturated and the beer consumption started dropping, and now we have a problem of nobody drinking beer. And it's strange because you make something convenient and maybe people just get saturated by certain thing and overindulge, and it doesn't feel like a reward anymore.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So for a habit to form, you need all three of those things to happen. You need there to be a trigger, which is beer in the fridge. You need there to be a an action, which is go get the beer and chug it, and you need there to be a reward. If it stops being rewarding, no habit. So you need, as to why it has stopped being rewarding, I have no idea. It could be anything. It could be that people are not able to work, which is a good enough reason, I think. It could be that people are not able to work. It could be that people don't like the particular beer you have stocked. It could be it's too much trouble to just, to go to the fridge. I don't know if you have, for example, if you have an accounting system where you have to sign off.
No, it's pretty convenient to have a beer, but I think people have just decided that they don't want to drink.
Why? There is a reason for that, and it has stopped being rewarding. For some reason. Maybe they can't work. Maybe it's lost the novelty and it was never that rewarding to begin with.
Thanks so much, Suman. That was a great talk.
Thank you.